Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
It's making something new.
So, we had a little bit of a storm this past weekend, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get a chance to see this specific film, but luck would have it, I forgot that there was an Alamo Drafthouse right near me, so I managed to see the newest film from Alex Garland, and that of course is Annihilation, based on the trippy sci-fi novel written by Jeff Vandermeer, and this stars Natalie Portman, Oscar Isaac, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. So, I really didn't know what to think about this movie when I first heard about it. It actually was a little bit on the down low towards the end of 2017, but then the advertisement started to pick up in 2018, and I gotta tell you, those trailers definitely looked very interesting. I think that that's the best way to describe it, and my wife can totally vouch because she did read the source material, and she said that that book was pretty crazy. But I didn't really know what to think about it, whether I wanted to see it or not, but then when I found out that Alex Garland was the director, I had to jump on this because he blew my mind with a great science fiction film a few years back, and that, of course, was Ex Machina, and if you haven't seen Ex Machina, you are definitely missing out. So this is a story about a woman whose husband suddenly comes back after not knowing where he had actually been in regards to fighting for the armed forces of the United States. And when he comes back mysteriously, he just doesn't seem to be himself, and so all of a sudden she is roped into this whole group of people that are basically talking about this crazy phenomenon that is happening somewhere in the middle of the United States, known as the Shimmer, and it seems to be expanding every couple of months. This group of scientists led by Jennifer Jason Leigh's character basically say to Natalie Portman's character, "We don't know what this is, all we know is that your husband had gone in with a few more of his additional troops, and there were many parties that went in before him, and yet he was the only one that came back, and yet for some strange reason he is not the same." So Lena, who is Natalie Portman's character, decides to band together with Jennifer Jason Leigh's character named Ventress, along with a bunch of other strong scientist women, and one of them is actually played by Thor Ragnarok's Tessa Thompson, and also Gina Rodriguez, who is definitely one of the highlights of this film in terms of comic relief, as well as some very dramatic moments. So Lena goes into the Shimmer with these ladies, and they basically experience this craziness firsthand. I gotta say, when it comes to what happened in this movie, it was such a breath of fresh air to see a real thinking man's sci-fi film, even though, yes, it is pretty much an acid trip and a half, but it is still a beautiful film to experience. The lighting of this film is definitely one of the highlights of this movie. The balances of rainbow colors and grays and whites, it is just like something out of a dream as these women are exploring what lies inside the Shimmer, along with a couple of additional surprises that you do discover throughout the film. Ben Salisbury and Jeff Barrow team up again to give us a truly impactful and memorable score, even though there is really not that much music throughout the film. When the score does hit you, it definitely gives you chills. The acting is also very, very good. It is an amazing dramatic performance from just about everybody across the board. I'm not the biggest fan of most of these people, except for Oscar Isaac. I think he's one of the best young actors out there, but he does have a much smaller role when you take a look at people like Natalie Portman and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Also, I don't really know many films that I have seen with Jennifer Jason Leigh. My favorite is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She is so fantastic in that film. And Natalie Portman, while I'm not her biggest fan, she always does give a great performance, regardless of what the role is, and regardless of my feelings towards the person, I will not deny her acting talent. But this movie is definitely something that leaves a lot to the imagination. There's also a lot of mystery that is involved in this movie. There's also some very confusing parts of this film, especially when you get to the end and you try to understand exactly what the Shimmer is and what the Shimmer is all about, or does this entity even have a purpose in general? It's also got some great science elements in this movie when it comes to things like biology and evolution and genetics. It's definitely something that you don't see much of in most science fiction these days, and I always enjoy a great thinking man's movie, especially from Alex Garland. We've got movies like Annihilation and Ex Machina, but we've also had another great thinking man's sci-fi film in Blade Runner 2049 in recent years, so maybe we are starting to steer clear from the big blockbuster science fiction slash fantasy film, and we're actually going to be getting a brand new wave of science fiction films, which I would definitely embrace. This isn't necessarily a movie that I'd want to see hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, I will admit, while it is a very different and very original film, it is no Ex Machina. Ex Machina was definitely something that resonated with me, something that I truly remember, but this one, while it does have some points that resonate with me, it doesn't have a lot of great, memorable moments that really make this a rewatchable film. And is this a movie that I would want to own on DVD? Not necessarily. I would probably want to see it again, but it's not a movie that I would want to own for the sake of seeing it multiple times. But if you really want to get an amazing experience at the movies this year, I don't know what the rest of this year's releases will give to us, but this one is definitely one that stood out because there will be, I'm pretty certain, no other movie like Annihilation this entire year. I'm going to be giving Annihilation an admirable 3 stars out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Put your comments in the box below and let's discuss Annihilation, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.